One of my sisters, she was going through a really hard time in school. They kicked her out. She was 8th grade. I'm telling you, I have no idea why they sent her out. The rest of us were still in there. And my mother tried all the other schools from that extreme to that extreme. Even at one point, there was no school in Muncie that would take her. Not a single one. We tried out Lakewood or New Jersey, and they also refused. One of them said we refused to save the neshamas of Muncie.
Why do you think a community that is supposed to be so good about chesed and charity didn't come through for her?
The community is great with chesed when it comes to physically sick people, cancer patients, if anybody cannot have children, if anybody doesn't have any money. Out of all my personal experience from mine and my siblings, there's no organization that helps for, not that I've heard of, that offer to try to get her into a school, try to fight on her behalf.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frida Weisel, and I'm a New York City, Brooklyn-based Jewish YouTuber with an interest in all things Jewish, subcultures, religion, New York City, and human interest stories. Today, I'm delighted to interview Pessi from the Instagram account Pessi Unstressing. Pessi gained notoriety for creating funny spoofs in Yiddish on Instagram. For instance, spoofing the experience of shy young girls getting fitted for bras by matronly, no-nonsense Hasidic ladies, and other funny spoofs that many of us can relate to. I heard from so many of you who wanted to hear Pessi's story, and I'm so glad that she agreed to speak with me today. Thank you, Pessi, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Good. Doing good.
Good. We want to get to know you and your story. Do you mind if we start by, I'll ask you where you were raised and how old you are?
Sure. I was born and raised in Muncie, New York, and I'm 22.
You're 22? And you're a mother?
I'm a mother.
How old's your daughter?
She is turning 3 end of July, so she's 2.5. I had her when I was 19 and a half.
And right now you're a student in college?
Yeah.
Do you still live in Muncie?
Yeah, around like Rockland County, but still here near my family.
Sweet. I lived in Rockland County as a single mother for many years. It was, it was a sweet place to raise a kid.
Yeah.
Did you grow up speaking Yiddish?
My school, we spoke Yiddish in school between our friends, which is not that common as you might think. Satmar speaks Yiddish, Vizhnitz speaks Yiddish, but all the rest of the schools don't really speak Yiddish between friends. We did. At home, we spoke Yiddish till I was, let's say, 15 years old. And at that point, somehow like our family went through some changes and we all started speaking English more or less. I have 2 little brothers and we still speak Yiddish to them.
How many kids are you?
We're 7. I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest?
Yes. We're 5 girls in a row.
Interesting.
So it's fun.
5 girls in a row and then 2 boys?
Yeah.
Would you say that you spoke more English at home because you were so many girls?
No, again, we switched over to English a lot later. So in the beginning, when I was younger, we all spoke Yiddish. But then, to our father, we speak Yiddish. I don't know. It's very mixed. It's more like we started reading in English and watching videos in English. It's more about being able to express ourselves better in English.
I get that. Yeah,
We
I get
switch
that.
so quickly through languages that I don't even realize half the time what language I'm speaking. Even to my father, it would be speaking English, switching over to Yiddish. I don't even know.
It's very fluid. For me also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter
Yeah.
too.
But it's definitely... Your daughter
She's
too?
fully
She's
bilingual.
fluent in Yiddish?
Yeah.
Love that. So can you tell me what kind of Hasidus you were associated with as young kids?
No, because we're not associated to any.
I see. So what were you?
Neutral.
Where were you on the...
Call us
What school did you go to when you were very young?
Atedesbunet, to Muncie School. Private, yeah. So it started off as being under Nicholasberg. It was called Bas Melech. Then when I was 6th grade, I don't even know what happened. I just remember there were cops and a whole protest outside our building. It kind of split. Politics. You gotta love
Wow.
that.
Sounds fun.
And after that, we switched schools. We moved out of our building into trailers. But yeah, switched the name, switched everything.
Did your family not feel affiliated with Hasidus? Did they just see themselves as...
We were fully Hasidish, but my grandfather was like, he never officially had one Rebbe. He had a lot of different ones. He loved Rebbes in general. He went for bruchas and everything, but he never was connected to one. My father, his personal Rebbe was his Rosh Koil, Rebbe Hiel Tauber. They were very close. Very, very close. So he asked him everything, moving, job, everything. Then he passed away and his son took over and then his son passed away. And it's very hard for my father to get used to somebody new after that. We felt it. We felt the lack of a Hasidus and a Rebbe in our life. We did as kids. But you have to have a feeling to where you are. And I guess my father couldn't find us. But we were fully Hasidish, like all the Hasidish minhagim and levish and the way we went about everything. We weren't part of a specific. I was never at a tish even.
No?
No.
You didn't go to Squid or none of the groups to...
No.
Interesting. How would you describe your early childhood? Was it very sheltered?
Yeah, very sheltered.
What was it like to be the oldest?
I don't want to say guinea pig because I love my parents. It's like every oldest. I mean, it was the responsibility, a lot of responsibility. It's kind of like carrying the family on my back. I'm going to talk from my own personal experience. I felt like the mood in the house depended on me. So I felt like I can't fully express myself. Not anybody's fault, just my own. I felt like I needed to make sure that everybody's happy, everybody's okay. And if any of the kids were making problems, I tried to step in. I love my role. I take it very seriously. I'm very protective by nature. Still now.
And that's probably why you feel so at home with nursing, right? As your future career.
Probably. I want to be that person that people, depend on to be that sturdy me.
Yeah. Can I ask what your relationship with your parents was like when you were young?
When I was young, things definitely changed. Our family changed in general. So when I was young, I think it was a regular relationship that anybody has with parents. My mother was a stay-at-home mother. My father was in Kollel till I was, I think, 14 years old. We were close. It's my problem. Like, I didn't open up fully. But I have a lot of the same things. Like, I take a lot of qualities from them. For example, my father, he loves learning new things. He loves history. He loves nature. He loves animals, all these things. I see myself like that. So we kind of bonded through that, through interests. That's with my father. We have very philosophical discussions and you could delve deeper.
Sweet.
My mother was always she's like she carries a lot of our family. So we depend on her a lot. So she was the one who would get us school supplies and things like that. But the one I would talk to more was my father. The one I depend more was my mother.
Would you say your childhood was difficult or happy or both? How would you describe it?
I think it was a regular great childhood. We had a lot of space to express ourselves, our family. We made crazy things we would build in our house. Like we take all the blankets and towels and sheets and make mazes and amusement parks and I don't know what. We made mock weddings and camps and all of it in one Shabbos afternoon, obviously.
You and your sisters, your younger sisters.
Yeah.
Are you still close to them?
Yeah, very close to each other, yeah.
Very sweet. So can I ask what happened later that your family became less Hasidish?
Sure. First of all, we didn't become less Hasidish. We just came out a little bit of the box we were grown into. So we were still fully Hasidish, but we started watching Yiddish DVDs a little later.
When you were really young, there were no movies, no DVD.
No, but that's Sagdas Belava, yeah.
Very hardcore.
Yeah. Then it became Weissmandel.
Lucky. Laffy Taffies. You could have Laffy Taffies.
Mm-hmm. Still not the Jawbreaker one.
You remember the Fireball?
Yeah, ew. It's like
no, it's terrible.
Fireball and black licorice, same category.
Yeah, horrible.
It's an acquired taste.
It burnt. It was so hot.
No point. No point.
So what happened? Who started to introduce things into your home that were more open?
So one of my sisters, she was going through a really hard time in school. Basically, one of the principals decided that she was too, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there was a whole group in the class that didn't like the principal. And they made like a club, like we ate the principal club. And the principal decided that my sister is the head of it. To make a long story short, she called her in her office and kept saying negative things to her, but kept telling her, like, maybe you need help. And she sent them to some rabbi who, like, that rabbi, he's a great rabbi, but for the people that really, really needed him. So kind of that opened her up a little bit more to the world. At one point, they kicked her out. She was 8th grade. The principal went into the classroom and said that somebody here is like Amulaik, keeled up the rest of the class. And the next day she was out.
And you were the older sister in all of
this? The older sister in high school. And yeah, knowing that everybody is looking at me, but I had great classmates, great friends. Also, I knew what was going on. At home, she wasn't acting her best. She was really sad all the time. She was really angry all the time. It was more like that fear of we don't know what's going to be. And at one point she said she wants to be in school out of town. We still wanted to keep her here because she was so young. She was 12, 13 years old. At that point, we wanted to make it easier for her. So my parents started becoming a little bit more lenient with her. But automatically kids would see and say, like, it's not fair. Why could she see this or do this? It was more like she watched Shirley Temple, like one of them. So I guess that's where it started. Of course, it wasn't like a steep change, but it started more, our whole family became more, yeah. And the
That's very
searching for
interesting.
school. Should I even get into that whole thing?
If you're comfortable talking about it, for sure you can talk about it.
Okay.
Especially how it affected you with your younger sister going through such a difficult challenge in the frum world. If you get kicked out of a school, it has especially repercussions because it can be really hard to find a new one, right?
Yeah. Not only really hard, impossible. It's impossible.
Because they won't accept you.
And she was still fully religious, keeping everything. Like, I'm telling you, I have no idea why they sent her out. The rest of us were still in there. And my mother tried all the other schools from that extreme to that extreme. Even at one point, there was no school in Muncie that would take her. Not a single one. And so we tried like out, like Lakewood or New Jersey, and they also refused. One of them said we refused to save the neshamas of Muncie.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you think back to it?
That time, I
Yeah.
feel like right now everything is coming up, the resentment, the rejection, the betrayal, how can they do this? We're Jewish, we need your help. We went to many other people. We needed people to sponsor, to try to get her back into the school. And the principal was like, it's either me or her. She didn't even want to negotiate. And we went from person to person to person. Most of them charged money. After like 45 minutes, said like, time's up. I can't really do anything. Nobody did anything. And it just felt it felt helpless. It felt like there was nobody out there that is going to help us. And we were on that journey where it was getting really, really scary. We didn't know what the future is going to bring. And then the house started becoming so different. It was a lot more tense, a lot more walking on eggshells around everybody, a lot more like the rest of the kids were kind of being pushed aside, and the whole focus was on her. So my role was to take care of the other kids. And it was becoming like a real division because she wanted to go out of the state. At first, my mother said like, no, absolutely not. We're not sending you out of the state. We wanted her around. We wanted her home, and she was so young, but nobody was taking her. So we found a school in Cincinnati, Ohio. So she went there, 9th grade, and it was really difficult because she's also very connected to her family. She was very homesick. It was a very high level school, and they weren't Hasidish. It's very hard to connect to people that are not from where you grew up. It's like different mentality, different way of thinking. She was not too happy over there. Nothing to do with the school. It's just her own. She was already feeling so,
burnt
sad
out.
Being sent out of one school, being rejected, like I can't even imagine the pain of it. I never felt like that, but I felt rejection. I felt an outcast enough to know that what must go through somebody's head when they feel like the whole school just thought I can. And the school that sent her out didn't even check back to see if she's okay. Didn't check back to see maybe they can do something to find a different school. Nothing. Like as if turned back completely. So then it was COVID, and my sister came back from Cincinnati, and afterwards they said like she shouldn't come back. So that was it. Then for the next year, she started working. A lady hired her, to do just a little filing, and that was amazing. We didn't have many people, but those people that helped out, we remember.
Yeah. Why do you think a community that is supposed to be so good about chesed and charity didn't come through for her?
I don't want to say this without sounding too hateful, but the community is great with chesed when it comes to physically sick people, cancer patients, if anybody cannot have children, if anybody that doesn't have any money. Out of all my personal experience from mine and my siblings, there's no organization that helps and not that I've heard of, that offer to try to get her into a school, try to fight on her behalf, try to fund different schools. These schools out of town are so expensive. Nobody even to be home with us. It's almost like having a sick sibling with parents that are not home all the time. Just like if somebody
Yeah.
is sick physically and the parents have to be out and running, we had that too. We were little kids alone and there was nobody. And not only there was nobody, but there was the shame too. There was the blame too. I've had friends dropping me because of her. We've all had neighbors, little kids started like telling my brothers things like, I saw your sister doing this and saw your sister doing that. So it's not only that they don't help, but you had that shame and the blame. Now they're getting better at it. But back then it was a long time ago. And it was like, oh, this person has a sister that's like, it was very embarrassing.
What happened in your own life? Did you still get married in a regular marriage, like all of your friends in an arranged marriage?
But that was later. First, she went to another school and got sent out, all these things. So where was I in all this time? I was still very, like, my way of dealing with it was going the opposite extreme, becoming very religious. Like, I would read all kinds of like Living Amuna books. Like I tried to really like soak everything in to the opposite extreme. And yeah, so in school,
Did it help? Did it help you cope?
for the time, yes.
Uh-huh.
It's it's almost like a drug. Religion could be a drug. You can become so obsessed with it because you feel.
Yeah. So what, you became frummer than the whole family? Did you boss others around with your like, don't do that? No.
Never. No. I just became very into
No.
like very from, very into yichud and very into I don't even remember what I would. It's more an internal thing. Like I would, like how seminary girls speak, Baruch Hashem, Mir Tashem, every second word. That was me when I was in 12th grade, and I was completely. But it was necessary for that time. Like I don't blame myself for doing that because
No,
things at
of course
home were
not.
going so wrong that like it was so tough, and I needed to have something else to focus on other than what was going on.
Yeah. Did you feel like Hashem is on your side or your sister's side?
I guess I didn't let myself think about it. I just
Uh-huh.
I thought about it in a very logical perspective. I grew up thinking like this. I am going to do X, Y, Z because that's what was taught. That's good. You know what I mean? They told you like do X, Y, Z, and you're gonna be closer to Hashem. So I did that. I spoke to him. I would thank him, but it was always like out of fear. Definitely not out of love. It was always like, okay, you know what? I know my family is doing certain things, but look at me. I'm good. So do good for the rest of the family because I'm good. That was kind of how I did everything. It's like, look, like I'm gonna thank you. I'm gonna, thank you out loud, and don't mind that my siblings don't. I would negotiate a lot.
It sounds, I think a lot of people who will listen to this will be able to relate to a teenage experience where something goes awry and it's very painful and isolating, as a family that was wholesome starts to like unravel because something happened. Did you have like a confidant who you could talk to, or how did you, besides for your faith, how did you emotionally get through it?
I had a therapist at that time, but I was so embarrassed that I didn't even tell her about these things that was going on until years later. Like I remember telling her, this has been going on the last 2 years ago, and she looked at me like, "Oh, did you say anything?" In high school, I had a teacher that I spoke to, but I was rewarded a lot for being more frum and everything, so that kind of fed that. It's more about that. It was more like they were giving me chizuk to keep doing what I'm doing, even while everything else is just. So it was never about my emotions, but it was more like, look at you. You're keeping strong. You're so connected to Hashem. Anybody else in your shoes would have broken, but you are still so keep going.
How do you feel saying it now?
It's what I needed then.
Yeah. You have to have a tremendous amount of kindness and compassion when you look back to what you needed.
It won't do any good for me to think like
times.
I needed somebody to say, just be yourself. You can be angry. You don't have to be perfect. Like nothing's going to happen. There's a lot of pent up things up there, but exactly. You should have compassion.
Yeah. I feel like I can hear the pain in your voice. And I think a part of it is when you yourself are targeted as the bad kid, I think it's easier to roll with it because it's very hard to watch someone you feel is being like wrongly maligned. I think that the emotions could develop so much stronger when it's not you.
Because I wasn't it wasn't happening to me. So I was on the side absorbing her pain, my parents' pain, my siblings' pain.
Yeah.
At one point, like before she went away to Cincinnati, she was so close to my little brother. And then she went away. He was only 2 years old. And from then, whenever anybody was about to
Oh,
leave the room or leave the house, he'd come running and ask if we're going to come back. So
poor
I absorbed
thing.
all that, you know?
Yeah, sweetie. So you were married in the Hasidische system?
Yes. So I was in a very, 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 I'm going to add another very ultra religious school. And they,
For high school.
the whole school, from nursery to up. So
Got
the
it.
same school that my sister was
Like
in.
Benayoel?
More than it's
Is
like
it,
the ones that Samir is too not from enough for me came here.
why did your parents pick such an extreme
Beats
school?
me.
Okay.
It wasn't
So
as
what
extreme
happened?
as Basmela. Came a lot more extreme later. Different principals, different board, different. It changed over the years. We'll say the parent body changed too. So
the school changed essentially, and
Yeah.
you stayed.
we stayed because my parents didn't think uprooting me from my friends is a good idea. And at that point, I had already from that the last year. So I'm like, I took everything that they told us.
Yeah,
And what
that
did they
makes
teach
sense.
us? They told us exactly what you need to do as a wife, as Aisha's Chayil. You know, you have to be there for your husband. You need to accept his love too, because if not, it's like a cup that has a hole. You know, he's going to give you when you don't accept. He's giving you. And, you know, his happiness. If you are, you know, the story with like Koirach's wife versus, what's his name? The other one. It's like Koirach's wife
Moy-
convinced him to sin. And then the other one distracted him and put him to sleep.
No, I don't know, but that's the wife you should be.
Yes. Like you can, it's your responsibility, meaning you can, it's on you whether he sins or not. In other words, not that it's on you, but like you have the power to make him good. Like it always gives
Yeah, fixing men.
right?
It's a great way to go through life.
And you can. They were always saying this mushal that there's the Arusha and the Tzaddik. And the Tzaddik had a wife, like a Arusha wife. And the Arusha had a Tzaddik wife. And then once they both divorced and they married each other, and the Tzaddik became Arusha because his wife became Arusha, and the Arusha became a Tzaddik because the wife was basically it depended on the wife whether they were good.
The wife determined. Okay. So Arusha is an evil person and a tzaddik is a sage, a saintly person. And it all comes down to the woman behind the man.
Like he's the bread, she's the water. You're going to take up the space. Shake it achaim vehevel hayofi. You know, all these things like buckle up. Shake it achaim vehevel hayofi basically means that looks mean nothing.
Everything is vanity.
And I'm a person that learns and takes everything in. Everything in. All my childhood, I've been taking things in. Like we learned in second grade that if you don't have kavuna when you daven, then it's like a gift without a neshama. And every time I'd finish davening, I knew I didn't think of the touch. I knew this is just going to stay here. Like the besmedrash.
No. I remember we also, a gift without a neshama is meaning it's a body without a soul. We learned something similar that if you do a mitzvah without doing it 100%, you create you create an angel. So every mitzvah, every good deed creates an angel. But if you don't do it properly, let's say you daven, but you're not wearing proper stockings, then the angel will be deformed. Yeah, I know. And then it was so sad.
We learned that if you do a mitzvah and then you regret it, it's like you never did it. Like let's say if you borrow a book for a friend and you regret giving it to her, then it's like you never bought it. You never lent it or something. There's one thing that stuck with me, and it's still like even right now I'm scared to say it. Did you ever learn that if you ask why, you're going to die?
No.
It's like if you ask God, why is this happening to me? He's going to say, why? You're asking what? Come up, I'll show you why. And it's like, no, I don't want to.
Really? That's so funny. I thought Jews are like, why me?
So at one point, I remember like I was going to sleep and in my mind, I had a really bad day and I was like, why is this happening to me? And then right afterwards, I'm like, okay, this is it. You know, I just asked him why, and now he's going to say, and I'm like, look, I don't really want to die. I don't really want to know why. I'm literally talking to him. And I'm going to sleep. I'm like, okay, whatever. If I die, it is what it is. And then I woke up and I did it. And I'm like, he's a barachmim. That's what I mean. I take everything in. So I took in what it's like to be a wife, and I took in what kind of husband I should be looking for, and feelings and emotions. Like I didn't think it's necessary even. Like I didn't think it's part of it, because we learned that romance is love. Romance and love is from the movies. Life is meant to be hard. Marriages, you have to work. They never tell you how hard or how much you have to work. So you can go into a situation that's not normal, and you just remember that. Remember, romance is fake. Love is fake. People are just pretending. It's real hard work.
Yeah.
So I was set up like everybody else, had one show. We met for an hour. We spoke a lot of different things, but yes, you want to have internet? No. Okay. You want to have a computer? No. Okay. I want like a real tweede digestief. I wanted to live with a lot of, do you want that? I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely what I want. I want to have a fun home. Yeah. Are you going to learn?
He agreed with you about not having a computer and not having internet?
I agreed with him. Actually, I did have a
see.
computer because I do
Okay.
have a recording studio, but like, sat internet? No. Okay. No, I make it sound like it wasn't like that. It was more like he checked off exactly what I wanted at that point. He wanted the same home that I wanted. And he did a lot of things that I know others don't. Like he was very into, if I need to work, I'm going to work. If I'm going to try to learn as much as possible. If I need to work, I'm going to work. And that was different from when I grew up. So I'm like, okay, that's a plus. He said he was very accepting of my sisters. I don't know, it just fit. So we met like an hour and a half to 2 hours and got engaged that night.
Where did you meet?
In his aunt's basement.
In his aunt's basement? Were you excited?
Get engaged or to meet someone?
Both.
I don't know. Not really. It was more like the next step in what I'm supposed to do in this world. When I know that I'm not going to feel right about something, my logical brain turns on completely, 100%, and my emotions go completely down. So because it was so logical, it became what I wanted.
It's like you emotionally shut down and you're like now following the steps almost like a robot.
Yeah. Now we were engaged for like 7 months. We didn't meet at all.
Did you talk during the engagement? Yeah.
We didn't meet at all. He was learning Israel. And then we spoke in Pesach and in Shvius twice. And I was so lucky.
If you would have met him on the street, would you have recognized him?
I would like to think so. But at one point, like, I forgot his voice. I got engaged Hanukkah and I didn't speak to him till Pesach. And I remember all the mothers would tell me engagement is the best time. Like, you know, you're going to get married, but you still don't have the pressure of marriage. So just enjoy this time. And I would look at them like, I don't know. I was miserable. My engagement was miserable.
Yeah.
I remember.
More so than marriage?
It was more in my mind. I'm like, what are you doing? You're getting into something. Do you even want this? And then in the meantime, we were shopping and getting furniture and different kind of things. They were spending so much money. So I didn't think I had a choice. I kept telling myself, like, it's going to be good. Like, this is just, you're in your head. I would sit with a picture in front of him. I'm like, okay, start liking it. You're going to marry him. Like him.
Well, you didn't even know him. Was he cute looking? Can I ask?
I'm not so into looks.
Yeah, me either.
I was never really into looks. So it's personality that mattered. And it was easy to talk. Like, we had an easy time talking. Conversation flowed. And they told us, if you see it flows, then it's probably
a good thing. I hear you, especially if your emotions are shut down. I can only speak for myself, but personally, I relate to that. Being overwhelmed to the point that you shut down and then you go on autopilot, it's very hard to even feel attraction because you're in this crisis state. So how are you supposed to know if you're even attracted?
Exactly.
So what was it like to be newly married?
I remember crying a lot.
Oy.
I cried a lot. I did not feel like I'm my ideal wife. I'm a real perfectionist. I have a very loud self-critic. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. And I had such high standards of myself, and I can never reach it emotionally. No,
did he know?
I tried doing everything. Did he know that I didn't? Not at that point. I'd force myself. It's so hard for me to be like lying. So every time I would say, I love you, I felt like another part of me dying.
Yeah.
You know?
Did your mother know?
No. We put up such a good show on the outside that to the point where his grandfather gave us mister that we're showing too much affection in public.
Wow. What were you doing? You were holding hands in public?
No, he fixed my wig or something. You have to pretend like you're not clean all the time.
How much after you got married was your daughter born? How long after?
I got pregnant 5 months after we were engaged.
5
months after we were married.
After you got married. Otherwise, while he was in Israel, that would be very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Technology today, you'd be surprised.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear. You know, I have to say it's so painful to hear because you're so young. You're so trying to be grown up, but you're not quite there. And sometimes you're not ready to be vulnerable when you're young, but trying to be grown up.
Especially for me. being vulnerable was not, I couldn't afford to be vulnerable in my family. You know, I needed to be strong for my
Yeah.
sisters and my parents. So, and if I would be vulnerable, I need somebody really like not only strong and hold me, but also not making me feel little.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to
Someone who
speak
can
to,
respect that you're such a big.
yeah, I want them to, you know, you're still strong. For some men, it's like they are very insecure about themselves. So when their wife like cries, they feel like, oh, okay, now I'm bigger.
Yeah. And they like it.
Yeah, makes them feel
Yeah,
manly.
I get it. But then when you're strong and you don't need them, then they might feel threatened.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. So was your daughter born before you got divorced or after?
Before, way before. I was married 3 years. Yeah. So she
Wow.
was born. So I got pregnant 5 months after my engagement. I had a really, really hard pregnancy at HG.
Mm-hmm.
You know what HG is?
At what age?
HG, hyperemesis something. It's basically severe nausea. Severe, like non-stop,
My goodness.
IV, like the entire time, basically.
Wow.
It was really, really tough. I had to stop working.
What were you doing?
I was working customer service. Like my company was hired by other companies to do the customer service for them. So I did customer service for a lot of different companies. It's actually a lot of fun. Get to switch different companies.
Identities.
Yeah. So I had to stop working. I was basically in bed the entire time. I lost a ton of weight. I was like 30 pounds. Me, I'm tiny. I lost like 30 pounds.
Wow. Why you couldn't eat? Because you were so
Everything came up.
nauseous?
I'd eat and then go to the bathroom. Eat, go to the bathroom. It's literally like a cycle. At one point, they made me count how many times I threw up. It was like by 25, 30, I lost count.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was this way all through the pregnancy or it got
3
better
months
towards the
after,
end?
like by the second trimester, it became a little better. Like more towards the afternoon, I was able to keep down some of it, but I was still vomiting till the last day. I loved labor. I didn't throw up once. It's like labor, my delivery was easier than my whole pregnancy.
And what was it like to be a new mother?
That was actually easier than being a wife. And that's why
Yeah.
I think I ended up stopping to take birth control in the beginning and actually want to get pregnant because I felt like I'm doing a sucky job, you know. I can't be a wife, so let's see how I am as a mother. And he's the best that I can get. I didn't think there was a way out. I didn't think there was anything else. I didn't think I needed anything else. I'm like, you know what? He still checks the boxes. I'm sure he's going to be a great father. He is a great father. And then, great, let's have a baby. And I was a great mother then. My father's support.
Were you married off with birth control? Your mother set you up with birth control?
Yeah.
This is normal? Like, is this the norm nowadays?
At that point, my mother was more open-minded. She was looking from her own personal experience. I was born when she was 19. She's don't. When I got pregnant, she's like, she still supported me, but I know it bothered her.
Wow. You know what? We all have to do our thing. It's very hard to be a mother. I mean, your kid is still young, but you have to watch your kid grow up and do their own thing.
Yeah. It was one of the hardest things that when we actually got separated, she's such a smart little girl that she would ask questions, you know. It would hurt her and would hurt me. And I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But yeah. At one point, you can't ignore everything that's been building up.
Yeah. Did you, can I ask if you're from now? You're not from, right?
What's from?
Like, do you, I guess I should rephrase it. Did you go on a religious journey, making religious changes at some point?
Definitely. Whatever felt, I'm going to use this term because for me, it felt like that. What I did. Whatever felt like it was a life and death situation for me. Everything else, even that, if it's a Shabbos that it doesn't feel like life and death, I try to keep it as much as I can. So it's not all or nothing for me. Very clear about that. I get Pesach. I try because I'm not, I don't want to erase that part of me. And I'm not stupid either. Like I'm happy that this didn't happen when I was 15 years old. Because then I probably would have wanted to try everything. I could have gotten into so much trouble and gone through so many more traumatic things. Right now, I'm a lot more in touch with myself. I know I'm not a club girl. I'm not a party girl. Certain things I'm staying away from. And I have a daughter, so I have responsibilities. I don't do drugs or anything like that. She keeps me grounded.
That's great. Can I ask, I don't know if you're okay talking about this. Was it your decision to end the marriage or do you not want to talk about it?
No, initially it wasn't my decision, it was his. And just gonna put it out there, like we got separated in end of June and I started like not being frum in October. A lot of people think that it was, oh, she didn't want to be frum, so they went separate. That was not the case at all. So,
Were you relieved?
Yeah.
How were your parents about it?
It was very hard at first. It still is. Like, they wanted to keep it a secret. Because there was a lot of shame around it, too. It was like, we've always been an embarrassing family. We've always had people laughing at us, always had people rejecting us. This is another thing. But I got a lot of pressure to try again. Obviously, there was a lot more to it, right? And they didn't know half of the things. It came as such a shock to them. I wish it wouldn't. I wish they would have seen it coming more. And it was also my sister was engaged. I didn't want to do with her while she was engaged. So I kept pushing and pushing and pushing months and months and months. But I just couldn't. Pretty much, yeah, right before she got married. Not right before, but so they were busy with another kid, another wedding. And at the same time, I had another sister. She was in Satmar, and Satmar sent her out. Probably all my siblings were sent out from someplace already. So talk about feeling rejected, right? As a family.
Yeah. What was harder for your parents, the divorce or your religious change?
Definitely the divorce.
Yeah? Why?
I think the religion didn't bother them as much. I mean, I'm going to say how I dress because that's the most like visible, right? So I do wear pants. I like more mask looking. Whether it bothered them, I think because I was like the third sister to not be from that, they were like, okay, what else is new? Divorce.
I see.
And that was a lot more, I'm sure it was a big deal.
What happened with your sisters? Can you talk about them not becoming from? Is it the one
the one that I was
you don't
talking
have
about
to say
earlier?
which-
The one that's yeah. So it was an eventual. It was, I guess, her was so slow. It was like more and more until like at one point, she just couldn't anymore. There's a limit how much a person can take while also focusing their thoughts on religion. Then the sister after that, again, she was in Satmar school, and I think it was a thing from the parents. That's what we heard back, that a lot of the classmates' parents, whoever I say this, they don't believe me. They're like, Satmar varför shadows. Fine varför shadows. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell
I
me
hear
they
you.
don't. And again, no trying to see if there's another place. And she's a really deep girl. She's a lot like me. So she felt it. She's like, I thought they liked me. I thought they saw beyond everything. I thought they saw that I'm a good girl and that I want to be good. And it hurt her a lot. It does something to the person. I can't even go into it, but like, yeah. And again, nobody tried. Nobody tried. No.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
out there going through all of it again. And I should show that my marriage and everything's falling apart. Well, I know that they're going through so many things with them. Like, I wasn't home. And my mother always said, like, with Pessy, I know at least with her, she's good. I couldn't do it to them.
Are they okay with you now? Are they able to support you?
A lot more, yeah. We talk more. I have more support than I did. I learned to ask for it too. Asking for help was extremely hard for me. I found many friends, many people. I was also very scared to make friends because I had very close friends in the past, and all of them just cut off for one reason or another. And I connect very deep, very hard, but very deep. And if somebody stops, then it's very hard for me to start again. But I did.
Yeah.
I realized it's not worth it. Like, my motto changed. It used to be rather be lonely than get hurt to the point of whatever. Now it's like rather risk your heart and have amazing people in your life rather than being lonely and alone.
100%. It's a very strong sign of trauma if you're so afraid that you won't be able to deal with hurt that you would rather isolate yourself. And I think a part of healthy growth is the ability to cope with the pain that comes with relationships. It's heartbreaking if someone can't cope with it.
Yeah.
And it's also clear that you found your anger, which also can be really hard for women.
Yeah.
Who especially grow up being the big sister, the brave face, trying to solve things by being better.
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened? How the anger started coming out? The more in touch I get with myself, as in, like, I don't have to fake anymore. I don't have to be the perfect wife, perfect Aisha style, the perfect daughter, perfect teacher. I was a teacher too. Loved my students. Absolutely loved them. I taught for a year and a half. And I do belong. Certain part of me belongs in the classroom. And when they asked me if I'm going to come the next year, everything was still going fine. Just something in me was like, don't, like, next year, like, you can't go on one more year like this. And I knew whatever it's going to be, it's either going to be a breakdown or a breakthrough, but I would not students through it. And
Say, I heard you with your daughter, and I can see how you thrive in that maternal role and the teacher role.
yeah, it was also very exciting because I have ideas to the sky. Oh, like I told about Italy, we just made pizza. I loved it. I loved it. But again, because I had all that in front of me, I couldn't focus on all my pain and my anger and my resentment and feelings of betrayal. There's so much there. Even right now, I'm not fully letting it come out because I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Because when I feel angry,
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
also
I
a
get
feeling
it.
of
It's a
protectiveness.
process.
I don't only feel anger for me. I feel angry for my sisters. I'm ready to burn the world down because of it. And so that's anger is
Yeah,
protecting everybody else.
yeah,
We'll say
I
for
get
now.
it.
I'm just saying that now I don't have anything to focus on other than what brought me here. Also, because I have such a strong connection to Hashem, I can't bring myself to be angry at him. I'm so scared to be angry at him.
To this day, you have a strong connection to Hashem. Do you daven every day? You pray?
Davening was very hard for me, even as a little kid, because I can never understand what I'm saying. So a lot of times, like, pretend I'm davening, and inside I daven in Yiddish, but I still talk to him a lot less, though, recently. Because if I talk to him, I don't know what's
Yeah.
going to come up, but I am at this point right now where I feel like in order for me to grow close to him again, I have to acknowledge everything I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. That sounds very healthy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing all of this. Let's quickly talk about Instagram, where we see the clown side of Pessy, the creative, fun, funny side of
It's
you.
not fake. It's not totally.
I don't think it's fake. No, not at all. I didn't think for a second it's fake. I just think it's the fun side. We all have different sides, especially a deep person like you. What happened there? How did you end up becoming an Instagram personality?
It was a night before my sister's wedding, and then we posted that video. But what brought me into Instagram?
The bra fitting?
The bra fitting video. So basically, I didn't have
Is it with your sisters?
It was with my sisters. Yeah, both of them are sisters. The one that I'm actually fitting is the sister right after me. And the one standing there and says, "Do you have anything that hides it a little better?" That's the one she got married the next day.
Wow.
But it was so, I guess I did not know how the world works. I didn't have a smartphone while I was married. I was just newly separated. Not even newly, but just a couple months out. And I was like, I dropped everything, religion and everything that week, literally. But I had a couple months before I got a smartphone, downloaded Instagram because my sister told me it's better for scrolling. Oh, I downloaded Instagram and I used it for scrolling. And then at one point I'm like, oh yeah, I should post. I don't know. So I posted like pictures of me cooking. I didn't even know what to do with it. It was private. It's a private account. I barely had any followers. I had maybe some of my friends, my sisters. And then at one point I started accepting some more like friends of friends. We had a family Instagram. We closed it, but we called it how's it called? Like, I don't even remember my family Instagram account name. What's it called? Like this
funny.
Gen Z word. Family. Okay.
I'm not the right person. I am not the right person here.
Something like that's cool when you like get to unstressing.
Venting?
No, not that.
Unstressing.
I don't even remember. We had a family Instagram. And I always said, like, us as a family, we can make it big. We are so hilarious. We are so cuckoo. These videos are just at a daily basis in our conversation. So we opened up this family Instagram. And then some videos that I posted there, I posted on my private. And then I started only posting my private, but it was still a private account. And at one point, I gave out one video. The way I'm saying, like, what's the first rebellious act that you did as an ultra Hasidic person? I ate in the toilet. Literally short, 25 seconds, still on my private account. In my bedroom, dark, like that's how everything happens. And I guess a friend watched a friend watch it or something. And suddenly I started getting a lot more requests. Like I went from 25 to 75 in a day. Every day I got another like 70 requests. And I told my other sister that, I don't know, I don't have patience confirming. I keep having to open up my Instagram account and accept people. Like I don't have time. She's like, okay, so do it public. I'm like, so if I do it public, it means that people don't have to, I don't have to accept people. They can just watch me without me looking. Yeah, fine. I didn't even know what public, private, I didn't even know anything. And then we post the bra video, Matzah Shabbos, and it went around. It went around. And by the next morning, I went from 75 to 100 to 5,000 in a day.
Wow.
And that's followers, views. It went around. And not only that, people started recognizing, it was wedding day. People started recognizing me on the street. And I was ready to close it down right there and go hide in the cave for a while. It was not a time where I wanted that to happen to me. I've been dealing with my own things. My family was always so over the radar. I was always so quiet, so my own thing, that I didn't appreciate the popularity. I didn't enjoy it. I made so many mistakes. I took videos of my location was clearly visible. I didn't know half of the things, And then
Yeah.
I kept it open. I wanted to close it
And
down many times, but it's still open.
what's keeping you to hold your nerve?
A couple of things, some good things, some bad things. So my deep yearning of making a difference that I've always wanted. That's why I became a teacher. That's why I'm becoming a nurse. It's something I always wanted. I wanted to make a difference. And because we were so quiet of a family and we kept being, I never felt like I just wanted with one word, make somebody's day. With one smile, make somebody's day. More than I already was. And here I was public, and just a little kid coming over was like, "Hi, I recognize you from Instagram. Can we take a selfie?" And I'm making somebody's day just by existing. And I have had people saying that, I know this and this person, she's sick and she doesn't laugh often, but she laughs from your videos. A lot of different things that I hear, that is what keeps me going. Being relatable.
Yeah.
Being able to tell a story through humor. I'm not making fun. That's one thing I'm not. Some people say, "Oh, she's the one that's making fun on Instagram." I don't mean to make fun. I just want to be relatable. And it's healing for me. Also, looking back, I have all these memories. Let me share it to people. Let me make people laugh. Laugh through trauma. That's how I always went through my life. Humor is the best humor, in my opinion. Now, why I do want to close it, that one is a lot stronger. I fear that one day I am going to close it because of that. Not as secure as I may sound. Take everything people say and even more. Like I said, I have a very loud inner critic. So if somebody tells me something, they're not telling me something, they're confirming something that I already know about myself. And I can't just not listen to it. And people are not nice. People are really not nice. A lot of things I delete. A lot of things are private. The things people send me, a lot of things are just so dumb. A lot of things hurt. A lot of them say, like, I bet, like, your daughter is going to be more traumatized than you. You're ruining people's lives. You're ruining people's day. You're so this. You're so cringe. You're so that. Why would I keep posting when I don't even know why I'm doing it? It's not like I worked hard to get it. It just came into my lap. Why would I keep going when I get such comments? And it's also, as a person that's came from being rejected from my community, and I have anger towards the community, a lot of hate and betrayal towards the community. I want to get over that. But when I have fellow Jewish people continuing on to feed that anger, you're not helping me. You're not making me love you anymore. It's like you said, they're supposed to be chesed. They're supposed to be. I have higher expectations from them.
Yeah.
I shouldn't. But there is this disappointment.
No, you should. You should.
I'm 22 years old. I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about that inappropriateness.
I get it.
There are certain things people say, like, "Oh, I bet your parents wish that you were never born, or that you never existed." And not only me, my sisters get it too. So hate is not fun for anyone. I'm not built to take it yet. I hope that one day I will, but right now I'm not. And these cowards are hiding behind a screen and ruining someone. Yeah. And my daughter's going to grow up and she's going to read these things. Like, was house to defend? Why?
Yeah. No, don't. Listen, I totally understand. I get comments very often, and I am so much older than you. I could almost be your mom. Like, that's a lot of time to get comfortable in your own skin. And I can't imagine the place you're in. But even for me, I get these comments and I relate a lot to how you describe that inner critic is already there and it's being triggered, especially when it comes from people who, you've been so hypersensitized in your childhood towards not being bad. And when they come out and they say you are bad, it touches that inner child that is cowering in there and trying to not be bad. And a lot of commenters will say, "Oh, don't pay attention to them." And they mean well, but they don't understand that there is a very loud voice inside of you that is paying attention, and it just really, really hurts. And I think really keeping going is the best way to like learn to trust yourself that it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to run away and close your account. Your creative voice gives so many people comfort and joy, like you said, and the horrible people hiding behind screens, it's not worth giving them the power. Yeah. Well, I hope that, you keep making people laugh. I love comedians. I have comedians on all the time, and there's always the people who are like, this is not funny. Whatever. If you don't find it funny, go away.
But you
A
don't
lot
have
of
to
us
comment.
find it funny.
Like the amount of time that it
Yeah, you don't
takes
have
to
to
write
comment.
down. You could have just scrolled. Why are you watching? Why are you staying enough to comment? They comment on the nitty gritty, which means you've watched it more than once, probably. And if I hit a nerve, find out why, right?
Yeah, exactly. As they say in therapy. Well, I am so grateful, Pessy, to you for sharing, because a lot of what you shared, I kind of feel your heart. Like, I feel like you've spoken so like from the heart, and I think it's really, really important. So I hope you keep doing what you're doing, making people smile. When my mother was in the hospital, I really changed my attitude towards my own work because I saw how much the people she follows kept her going. And I kind of told myself, you know what? If there are people in the hospital that I can keep going in the smallest ways, then it's worth it. And I think that you should also. And you're going to be literally treating people in your nursing profession. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm going to let you go now. I want to thank also the viewers on YouTube and the podcast listeners as well. I'm going to be linking to your Instagram on YouTube so that people can find you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pessy.